I decided to save probably the most hyped up team in the offseason for last. In 2016, the Titans finished 9-7 and just missed out of the playoffs. But before we go on, there's this fucking stupid narrative going around saying that if Mariota wouldn't have gotten hurt, the Titans would have been hosting a playoff game. Now that's a load of bullshit. Mariota got hurt like literally a play before the fourth quarter in the game that they were getting blown out in. If Mariota didn't get hurt, they still would have lost, and that's just being 100% honest. And even if they somehow managed to come back on the Jaguars, the Texans wouldn't have rested their starters in week 17, and the Texans would have won. So let's just throw that out of the way. That's just fucking stupid. Stupid analysts, these so-called experts, they're stupid. Okay, so last year the Titans got some outstanding play from Marcus Mariota and their offensive line, which paved the way for DeMarco Murray. Delaney Walker was still good, but then when you move on to the wide receivers, that's where it really starts. These guys literally had no big playmakers. They didn't have a speedy burner like T.Y. Hilton. They didn't have a guy like Hopkins that can just go up and get it. Then when we move over to the defense, on the D-line, it's pretty much only a one-man show. It's Jurrell Casey. He's the only one that's pretty much there. When you move over to the linebackers, you got Orakpo and Morgan playing outside linebacker. They're both pretty solid players. Nothing really wrong there. Could be better, but it could be a lot worse. So there's nothing wrong with them. They're solid players. When we move inside to the inside linebackers, that's where we start seeing a few issues. Wesley Woodyard is just an okay player, but after him, they had no one else. Now, the secondary, as we all know, was just a complete mess. Let's just not go into any further details because I'm sure everyone knows that their secondary last year was a total dumpster fire. Now, let's move on to the offseason. During free agency, the Titans added a shit ton of special teamers because apparently their special teams was really bad. But Texans fans, rest assured, I'm sure our special teams was still worse because, Texans. Anyways, in addition to all those special teamers that they added Jonathan Cyprien, Eric Decker, and Logan Ryan. And I'm going to be honest, none of these pickups are out of this world. Cyprien doesn't fix the secondary. The guy is a run-stopping safety, and he's a total liability in coverage, and I'm sure Titans fans already know that. Logan Ryan is a decent number 2 corner. No way he's a true number 1 corner that can go in and shut down receivers with the number 1 receivers. When he was in New England, he was their number 2 receiver. And even then, he always had Devin McCourty covering over top so he wouldn't get burned. Logan Ryan is definitely an improvement, but he's not a game changer per se. Now Decker, I think that was a great signing. I mean, yes, he was dinged up last year, but he got over 1,000 yards with Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's got to count for something. Personally, I think he was their best free agent signing. Now for the draft. Tennessee drafted Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson, both in the first round. And after that, nothing really else stands out. Mostly due to the fact that they didn't have a pick to the, mid-third round. But, whatever. This is the thing that pisses me off right now. Everyone, the experts, the Titans fans, they think, for some reason, Corey Davis is going to come in week 1 and be a 1,600-yard receiver with 14 touchdowns. And that Adoree Jackson will come in and be a shutdown corner. Which is fucking absurd. People seem to forget that after quarterback, corner and wide receiver are the hardest positions to adjust to in the NFL. There's a huge learning curve at those two positions. and especially with Davis, who comes from a small school. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying Davis is going to suck because he's from a small school. I'm saying he's not going to be effective his rookie year because he has an even bigger learning curve. The jump from a small school to the NFL, talent-wise, is huge. Like, seriously, like, even when you come from, I don't know, say LSU, the jump from LSU talent to the NFL is huge. Like, I don't know what these fans are thinking, that Davis is gonna come in and dominate the league. I mean, Odell Beckham is an exception. He's not the rule. Anyways, Davis is most likely gonna get 700 yards. That's a more realistic expectation. And Jackson, I don't really even think he's all that good of a corner. He's just a good athlete. And we've already heard that story many times before. Let's see. Brashad Perriman, Kevin White, Cordero Patterson, and Trey Waynes. I mean, the list goes on and on. When you draft a good football player, not an athlete. Very rarely do these athletes work out. But, you know, overall, I do think the Titans got better, but not as much as everyone thinks. I see the Titans as a 7-9 team at the very best, and they end up finishing third in the division. Now, this team, in my opinion, is extremely overhyped. I do not see them as a threat to the Texans, like, at all. Yes, they have a good offensive line and a good running game, but when they're going up against the best front seven in the NFL, and that's a fact, that doesn't matter that they have a good O-line and a good running game. Our front seven pretty much makes all that non-existent. They don't really have any receivers that can beat our corners. Logan Ryan can't stop Hopkins alone. Hopkins is too physical for an undersized corner like Jackson. Logan Ryan can't keep up with Fuller. Fuller has already burned Jackson a shit ton of times in college. And they have no one that can stop CJ Fedorowicz down the middle. They have no middle of the defense, so we can literally just pound it up right down the middle against them. Seriously, where is all the hype coming from? And then when you consider the fact that 3 of their best players are extremely injury prone, and they were all 3 healthy last season, it kind of brings their value down. Murray has been known as an injury prone player, but you know what? He's nowhere near as injury prone as their arguably. Actually, no, I'll give it to Casey. Casey's their best defensive player, hands down. But Orakpo is number 2. Orakpo is like the definition of injury. You look up in the dictionary, what's injury prone? There's a picture of Orakpo. Seriously. The guy was injured pretty much his whole career. Until last season. I think that was the only year he wasn't hurt. Anyways. Mariota is also looking like an injury prone player. I'm not really sure if he is. It's still too early to tell. But as of right now, all signs point towards yes. Then you put into consideration they are absolutely terrible at winning in the division. Then you realize this team can't make the playoffs. I mean, they got swept by the absolutely terrible Colts. They got blown out by the Jags, and they got beat by Osweiler. Yeah, I know, cool, they beat the Dolphins, they beat the Packers, the Lions, the Broncos, and Chiefs. But they also lost against the Chargers, the Colts again, the Jaguars, and Brock Osweiler. And then you also throw into that they almost lost to the Bears, the Browns, and the Texans backups in Week 17. Yeah, this team isn't who everyone thinks they are. And also, you gotta put into consideration that the Jaguars got better. The Texans aren't getting held back by Brock Osweiler anymore. and they can't beat the Colts, as I've previously been saying, like this past minute. They can't beat the Colts, so the Titans will probably, realistically, they're gonna go 0-6 in the division. Like, I'm not even kidding. This team is way better than the Colts, but for some reason, they can't beat the Colts. And then also add in that they aren't playing a last place schedule this year. And you'll start to realize that this team isn't going 16-0 how everyone thinks. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. So, Titans fans, you can go ahead and throw your little bitchy fit, but you guys know 100% that I'm right. You can try to act like it's not true, but deep down, you know damn well it's true. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Texans content, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.